Let's get you caught up on From the Ground Up.
What we're building is a fan experience.
These guys can come in every day and put in a full day's worth of work. We got to keep them moving.
But I'm saying to hold up because you're going to have that weight coming across.
Now, what happens if it doesn't pass the flatness test?
Oh, it's going to pass.
It's just a lot of fun when you hit your dates.
November 13th, 2017. The first shovel of dirt was removed from a 62-acre plot of land just west of the Las Vegas Strip. The Raiders, united with a team of tireless leaders from Nevada, are creating an ultra-modern, permanent stadium for the Raider Nation to call home. These are the stories of the people and the project, told from the ground up. Pressure and heat over time can convert something coarse into something brilliant and beautiful. The Las Vegas summer is certainly providing the heat, and the construction timeline is bringing the pressure. But it's the vision, ingenuity, and commitment of everyone involved that's creating this marvel in the Mojave. After all, this city is no stranger to forming something dazzling out of virtually nothing. You see, Las Vegas originated as a resupply stop for caravans heading to California in the 1800s. But it wouldn't be until the influx of workers on the Hoover Dam some 50 years later that the city began to take shape. Cheap electricity allowed the hypnotic neon glow to blossom. From the Rat Pack era to the mega resorts, agreeable weather and incredible topography, coupled with the relentless spirit of Las Vegas, has turned what was once just a thoroughway into a destination. But before the Raiders can enter the scene, a stadium needs to be built. Back on site, the core and decks are moving along now that the design is completed.
Yeah. It's coming right here, right now. It's gonna hit the vibrators. We'll see if it'll go flow through. If not, then we'll bring the pump and pump it through there. Yep. And then we'll just have to lace it back up with the 2x2.
There's lots of barrier elements inside of those cores, which is really almost a concrete column, let's say, within a concrete wall. So it's a place of high congestion of rebar and all the things that give the concrete the strength that it needs to have. With all that congestion, we end up spending a lot of time making sure that there's spaces in there that we can drop a hose or drop a pipe down into the wall to convey that concrete down past all that rebar to a point where it doesn't ricochet off everything on its way down.
Harris has taken that one in Northwest and also Northeast, and I believe we're reflecting the best we can do.
Well, we had a challenge with the grease duct, right?
So the grease duct went and got rerouted over that escalator that's down a little bit, and it no longer plows down that corridor anymore.
Right, okay.
Potentially it goes further south to get back around, but that would be the only other way to get it higher.
It always helps that we've got a structural engineer sitting over here that I can go talk to and say, hey, I know you need this steel. We've got to figure out how to manipulate and move some things around that still work within your structural requirements, because if I can't get concrete in there, the rebar and the stuff that you've designed isn't going to do you any good.
The team is pushed to increase work surfaces, get vertical as quickly as possible, and get more people working, all so that the building's complex and time-consuming steel structure can begin to be placed.
How are you looking on this deck? I think we're trying to go for a Tuesday pour right now.
We're looking on track to try to get a Tuesday pour, barring we don't have any more difficulties at the wall over there.
Dario! Thank you. Thank you, Dario. Hey, you're doing a great job, Dario. Thank you. Thank you. I think you might be the best water boy we have. I mean, you're everywhere at once. Hold on, Rod. We got no more mud. I've been a cement mason in town since 2006. With Vegas being a small town, everybody knows everyone. You know, it's not just like employees that I'm working with, it's like those are my friends too and people I've known, so we all kind of respect each other. That's good right there. Try to get one to here too. I'll check it in a second once we get the laser back. Good, good. Angel, Angel. Get the corners. We want to do a good job too. Like, we actually get excited if the floor is flat. We kind of have a thing to where the flatter the floor is, you know, I might be buying pizza and sodas, you know, on the next floor if we do a good job. So there you go, Hector. There you go. Said he doesn't want us to get on our sliders until the machine passes by with the pan, and then we'll get on our sliders. He don't want us digging in. Dave, I think they sink down. So just check it on our wet right there.
It's all about getting ready for, you know, we got to go vertical.
The landing area is prepared, but before the steel can be raised, it must be laid out accurately. This is done by coordinating the Virtual Design and Construction System, or VDC, with the crews in the field via satellite.
Today, we're basically setting targets on steel. The steel is going to be the skeleton of the building. This has to be dead on for everything to work. We have a model, a three-dimensional model that we have created that has all the assembly pieces of the steel and just some rough coordinates on where they want to place them. So what they do is they place them on the ground, they assemble the pieces and make sure that they all fit and everything's square. And then from there, they take them with the crane and pick them up.
Using the bullseyes attached to each piece of steel and a known point set in the ground, GPS allows the crew to accurately know when each piece is correctly aligned.
Of course, you know, when you pick it up with the crane, you're going to have a little bit of shifting, a little bit of movement. But what we want to do is tighten up as best as possible on the ground, and that way we have as little work as possible once we get it up in the air and in the stadium. I mean, really, the best thing we want to do is just pick it up and drop it on the bolts and weld it. And so this is a big part of it because by putting these points on the ground and then laying the steel on top of it, it allows us to get a visual of where that steel needs to go in and out and how the Legos are all going to fit together.
With everything finally set to go, the team of steel erectors is ready for the first big lift, a 113,000-pound piece of steel. That's approximately the weight of 8 elephants, 100 grizzly bears, or 25,000 chihuahuas.
For those of you that are not aware, this is the first engineered lift that we've done on the project. I want to make sure that everybody's aware of who's in charge on this lift. So, number one, Nathan's going to take this going forward.
This particular lift ticket is going to be for the first truss column of 4211. Total weight of 113,400 pounds. Crane capacity is good for 108,000 pounds. Percentage of that chart is going to be at 76.81%. Once this is over, Bo will take his crew, they'll hook to the assembly, they'll start standing it up. Once it's stood up in a vertical position, he'll hold it about a foot off the top of those mats and verify the weight. Once the weight's verified, we're good. He'll sit it down on ground on dunnage, and there's a temporary shoe that makes those columns the same elevation in order to stand it up correctly without getting the center of gravity off. That shoe will be removed. Then once that's all done, go ahead and hoist it into position. We'll also have the surveyor set up here shooting the in and out, side to side, to make sure that we're in tolerance with our shots.
Just reiterating what we talked about yesterday, guys. Access on and off the truss column is via the boom lift. We've got the permit in place to exit out of the boom lift. You got to use the swing gate. Don't be climbing over the rails, and no climbing the columns.
We said it all along. If you can't mitigate a hazard, you don't do the job. Need to make sure we walk down the column, make sure that as we stand it up, nothing is loose on it, nothing falls off. Make sure there's no hitchhikers, okay? Pay attention to your footing, where you're walking, your travel path. Know before you go, okay? Know before you go.
So far, it's been a long push from everyone on site to get to this moment. The lift of the first steel is a major milestone. It's up and bolted to the concrete deck. Over the next 9 months, more than 56 million pounds of structural steel needs to be placed, making it, at the moment, one of the largest steel jobs in the country. Steel and glass, seats and grass, and tons of technology. There is a lot to do over the next 18 months to complete this diamond in the desert. Stay with us as we race to keep up with the team's rapid progress on site. Explore the construction of the field tray that'll house the natural grass playing field, the massive Paris-style doors, and the iconic torch. We'll take a deep dive into the high-tech and human interest in this unprecedented look at what it takes to build a state-of-the-art stadium from the ground up.